Databook makes salespeople effective. So what we do is we serve some of the top tech companies in the world, the Microsoft, Amazon's, Salesforce's, Databricks, etc. And what we do is we help their sales teams run their pipelines and deliver to their customers. So the main thing we do is like, how do we actually ensure a salesperson effectively can deliver the right message to the right person at the right time and sell their product. Our platform helps explore insights on target companies that you might actually want to go sell to, but it also fully helps you craft your story, figures out like what items out of your portfolio would you want to use, why would you sell that to the specific person, why does it fit with this company, and this is even the right thing to sell. So we do a lot of that, and then outside of that, we also do sales process automation. So we make full assets for people. We help people prioritize accounts. We help them with their planning, lots of things like that. My role at the company is I lead the applied AI team. That's the core part of our AI platform. So there's a set of AI engineers. I also have a asset automation team that basically makes all of the assets that get sent to our customers, like the PowerPoints and things like that. The company itself is about 100 people. Let's say half of that is engineering, and then the engineers are grouped into groups of, let's say, 5 to 8 people that are tackling specific topics, and 2 of those are mine. And then the way the company operates, it's very engineering heavy with some product on top of it, but it has significantly more engineers and a light product layer, and it's very customer led. So we have deep connections with the customers we're working on, and basically work on our roadmaps together with them, which I think is characteristic for our companies, that we're very close to our customers. My journey to an engineering leader is actually very atypical. I studied physics and did a little bit of application engineering after, but got very quickly drawn into the strategy realm by an ex-BCG person. And then through McKinsey and through a set of tech companies, I kind of like navigated closer to the product and engineering realm. And then at some point in a fintech, I got drawn into like roles like deeper to the engineering side. And as over the last 5-6 years, I've been drawn closer and closer again. I landed in an engineering-like position. So I came much more from a technical foundation to business back to the engineering side. And therefore, my profile is like fairly different. I have a set of weaknesses other people will not have, but I also have a view that is quite different than other people that would be on the engineering side. Yeah, so I think challenges-wise, sorry, let me start it over. Some of the biggest challenges I think that we face are AI is generally cross-system, cross lots of data, cross a lot of like people and processes, and therefore you quickly land in a like, how do like many systems, many architectures, many solutions work together? And that's largely like the type of thing that I'm solving like week by week. Is we have, and our customers have, a set of systems. Those might be developed like quite a while ago, and how do we actually make that into an orchestrated whole? That's largely where I spend my time. And most people would look at that as in like, okay, like there's just lots of data that you need to combine, but that's not what I mean. I mean, yes, obviously there's lots of data you need to combine, but this is also like how do all of these services actually work together? So like this is the way my agentic loop works versus my process engine versus my configuration management versus the data setup and the pre-processing. Like if you approach those as separate things and you try to make each good, you like heavily under optimize the system. So like how do you actually weave those together? And my process engine and agentic loop are very, very tied. Like configuration management is like woven into that, and like how do you still make those their own services but cooperate in the right way? That is hard, and that's where I try to get a lot of opinions from other people. the main thing is, and this comes more out of my consulting days than my engineering days, is you need to just put a stake in the ground. So like something that is like, if you are trying to solve something, trying to do something new, it's the very concrete with tactical details. Like this is the thing, like this is the solution, and you know you're wrong, you know it's a wrong solution, but you pose it as a reality to your team and your sparring partner, etc., as in like, hey, like this is the way we can solve this, to spark the reaction, right? So take the pushback, take the feedback, and do that with people who actually will challenge you. If you're with a bunch of people that are just like nodding, then like that obviously doesn't work. But with that, you kind of discover that like, okay, this doesn't fit or this doesn't work, etc. So I always start with the stake in the ground, as in like, okay, like we know the solution is this. It's obviously not the solution, but at least like you challenge people. And I mostly say like people will just like throw up on your idea once you actually give it some detail. And that's where the value is, because like once you kind of start with the end back, then you get there. After that, it is about like empowering someone to actually tackle that problem. So like, hey, dear team member, we might want to make this. This is roughly what it looked like. They'll be like, no, that's not true. Like, it should look like this, etc. We have at least some valuable discussion, and it's like, okay, let's sleep over it. Like, put someone on it. Give them some time to actually like think over it and come back with like, okay, this is how I want to do it. And then critical step is like, let's do the end-to-end on paper manual version of this thing. It's like, okay, we think this is the solution. Can we actually do this just by a like copy pasting some things into some evaluations or using some other process we have and play it? Can we do a very, very quick version of the end-to-end, ideally manually, or by using like a tool like a Lovable or something fun that allows you to like quickly pull something and then kind of start the usual process. Okay, so now it's like, okay, like we need to define this thing, and like we need to kind of like code a piece of it and see, does this work, etc. But like, I think if you don't start with the stake in the ground and then kind of like the can I get an end-to-end quick thing of this, you lose so much time. So that's mainly it. And outside of that, iterate. Start with the essence, and like don't build all the stuff you don't need. Like if you need to, as quickly as possible, get to the end-to-end version of the thing you're trying to solve. High-performing teams, I think it matters a lot what type of team you're talking about, right? So I think in my world, when I'm building a high-performing applied AI team, so a team that is using the large big models to try to get to like actual business outcomes for our customers, the biggest differentiator I think is like highly interdisciplinary folks. Like I really need people who have seen, I need to have seen a like high transaction system on something. I need to have made like a something that dealt with a ton of authorization. I need to make sure that I can do something in a distributed fashion. Like people who've seen a set of these patterns in different companies are so much more effective within the applied AI world than folks who've just focused on one bit for an extremely long time. That like, because almost always we're building some system and not just like a small bit, and it needs to fit in. And if someone doesn't see the connection, I think that makes the biggest difference. And then also like if someone is too narrow, it's way harder to empower them. And again, like in a team, it should all be about like your team members running at full speed, but then full speed in a direction that actually makes sense. So I think the interdisciplinary is very important. And then the other part is like we know currently that we don't know what the future holds, right? This is the kind of like the Dick Cheney, the known unknown and the unknown unknown type of a thing. Like we know we're in this like super uncertain setup, and like to be able to run properly on that, you need to like have folks who are flexible, who are willing to let go of an idea, who are open to opinions, are fine to shift gears like somewhere halfway if there's something that changes, and that can run something like that autonomous. And I think that skill set, that's actually hard to find. It's also hard to pinpoint in interviews. It's like, okay, like I've got someone, because anybody in an interview is going to be like open to a bunch of feedback, or yes, I'm great at adjusting to other circumstances. I'm sure you are. But so look, finding the person who has seen a lot of things and can shift gears and allows that like I'm team working my way through this, and yes, I'm in control, but I like take other people's feedback to kind of like shape where I'm going. Like that's the thing that I'm looking for. And I think that's much more kind of like a character of a person that I'm looking for than it is like very specific experience. So it's harder to pick out of a resume, except for the, hey, I've built things that cross boundaries before. So that's the hard part. So there's two parts to that. I think the one part is being self-conscious and trying to understand like what role do I actually play. And I think one part of that is just like maturing over time and being more cognizant of that. The other part is more on the educational side as to like how do I like keep myself up to date both with leadership practice and with like what's actually going on in the field technically. The way that I try to stay abreast there is I've really significantly changed the amount of engagement I do with external parties, with other people in the same role, and with meaningful industry events. What I mean with like meaningful industry events or some of these connections is there's a lot of these like open networking events where it's just like hi, hello, and everybody's advertising themselves. Like those are actually very unhelpful for me. The things that really do help are the ones where there's some topic or some actual like the technical engagement where you actually talk about something like in a panel, or when there's certain companies that like I've seen, for example, Heavy Bit is an organization in San Francisco. When they put on an event, it is like topic based and people are there to engage on something, and they're not necessarily there also like I'm advertising like my little sales motion. And there I get extreme value in finding like people struggling with the same leadership things, but also the same type of technical topics. And I think that has changed a lot for me, is where I engage now significantly more. Almost every 2 weeks or something, I'll be like at a place to engage with folks. And the last few weeks, actually, it was multiple times a week that I've been engaging on that, just because I get so much value, given that everything changes so fast. There's so much going on. The only way to do that is by having other antennas out that pass you information. So I try to be very active on that. Does that necessarily improve me that much as a leader? I think I would benefit from some in-depth coaching there. I think I could do a lot more there, but from openness and engaging for sure. So one thing that matters a ton to me is like in the team that I joined here at Databook, the CTO is basically my sparring partner. Like we challenge each other a ton. We go on the whiteboard, we share ideas, and like that back and forth, like. And it's almost in any company I've worked at. Like if you can find that connection with someone who is like open and willing to like actively co-challenge, I think that's very important. And in previous companies, there's been a few key figures with which like either I was their sparring partner or they were mine, and we would play that role. And I think that without that, I wouldn't be able to function in a company. And I feel like I'm apparently always with either one or two of those people, and if that doesn't work, then the company probably also doesn't work very well for me, which is something I found out about myself. But I need that someone who's really open and sharing and is vulnerable on like either side is vulnerable on like these are topics I'm not sure about that I might not air in the larger broader context because I need to project some confidence. That is just so important. Overall, my experience with Revello has been just an amazing experience. But to give you a bit of the journey, I think a lot of companies are tied up in this like back to the office or in the office nonsense. That is, I need everybody to be in the same spot and always be there, etc. And I've worked in many companies, and all of my meetings were always virtual anyways, even if you were like in the company. And then a lot of the meetings turn out to be hybrid, and hybrid meetings are like strictly worse, right? So like there's this like back to the office nonsense that I would call it. The thing that I need is like, I need talent, and I need like just people who can really work and make things. And for that, like I just need good people near my time zone, and I need to be able to interact with them and build things with them. And when I started trying to find like, hey, I just need really good people, and they don't have to be in my office. And I started experimenting and playing with different organizations and recruiting a bunch myself. I found that like some companies were just extremely helpful in getting me there. And just for context, like I've at almost any company I was at, like at McKinsey, at Cisco, at Western Digital, at the FinTech, I was one of the main people like working in the like let's bring people in. I was always strongly in the recruiting motion. And when I worked with Revello on trying to get people in, it was just smooth. I have this role description that's tuned in a little bit, and after that, like people just start showing up in my pipeline that were seriously pre-vetted, that have like proper profiles, a click away from doing a quick screening, and then I actually I used multiple organizations, but I just landed some really good talent, and I think that's where the relationship kind of like came and grew from, is when you actually find people that do the job and get you there. It's like a drug you start getting hooked on, and you need more of the same. So I'm on that journey. I think some possibilities are like it's easier to play with a mix of people because I just have more talent at my disposal. There's always a bit of a journey in a company if you go from pure on-site to mixed on off-site to multiple time zone off-site to multiple countries off-site, etc. And I think the thing that Revello has enabled for me is there's often a pushback on like, hey, if we work with a bunch of people outside, like how are we gonna manage like across all of these countries, and like there's HR overhead, and there's just other things we now need to take care of. And what's been helpful with Revello is everything is basically taken care of. It's more just about, does this person work well with us, yes or no? And all of the other considerations are kind of like not part of that anymore. So normally when I deal with like bringing in another person, and it is through an organization, etc., there is other overhead, and I think Revello has helped a ton with like that just not being there. It's just about, does this person fit, yes or no? The other part is like, we're a small company, and we have just a small HR team, and like hiring and the whole talent process is something that you devote time and resource to, and we've just had to devote less to that. So it's been easier to pull people in and to manage it, because it's just a few Slack messages being exchanged and something works, and I think that's made the like, shall we consider a Revello person versus a fully self-recruited or through whatever other process, like an easier decision, as in like, hey, yes, we can do this because it is just more frictionless than it otherwise would be. What matters a lot to me is that we, in this working relationship that we have between Revello and us, like it is very obvious to me that you have the same intent as I do, or there is the same, like we're aligned in the same direction, which is, if this person, like if we can find someone who's a good fit, we can try to like set up for this to work long term, which is good for you as Revello, but it's also good for me. And this is not like I'm trying to just like pass some people in your pipeline, and then if you press higher, then we're done. And there's a certain authenticity that really, really matters in this type of a relationship, which is like, hey, we're hiring someone, and let's try to make this good. And if it doesn't work, then it doesn't work. And like, it just feels like we're on the same team. And I think that part has me, like, if I look at different companies, like Revello just feels more like we're an extension of the same company. And that is an incredible difference between different vendors.